Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. It is Wednesday, June 15th, and the time for talk is over. It's time to play some hockey. It's time to finally drop the puck on the Stanley Cup final. It's about time. A lot of the hype. We had media day yesterday with both teams. Now it's time to get playing, and we're excited for it. This could be one of the better, more intriguing, more hyped Stanley Cup finals in recent memory. Tampa Bay Lightning, Colorado Avalanche. You know, as I've stated multiple occasions, it kind of feels like the old guard versus the new breed here. You got the team that's trying to hold on to their throne and keep the crown on their head for a third straight year against the team that is more than capable, in my opinion, if they keep the core together, to be a champion multiple times, just like the Tampa Bay Lightning have been. So it's a great series on paper. Hopefully it delivers on the ice. We will break down game one, side totals, props, player props. We will cover it from every angle here today on the Ice Guys show. Looking forward to that. Alex B. Smith back with me. Of course, I'm Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith. And we have another special guest today. Now, I don't know how this show is going to keep it on the tracks, the train on the tracks, if you will, with two Ians on the show, but we'll do our best to do that. We welcome in Ian Miller joining us here on the Ice Guys. Ian, welcome to the Ice Guys show, and tell us about your hockey background.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. Ian Miller. I grew up in the Metro Detroit area, so I played with Little Caesars and CompuWare growing up. Played in the North American Hockey League for the Port Huron Fighting Falcons, and was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to Lake Superior State. Played a handful of seasons there. That's basically where the career ended, and I started working in the automotive industry, and they legalized gambling, and I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, exactly. Like many of the rest of the sports population, it has been an incredible couple of years in terms of legalization. Both sides of the border now in Canada, you're seeing it as well, big time as well. So good to have you, Ian, with us. And like I say, Ian is into this shit daily, just like we all are. So great guest to have to help us break down game one. Alex, we haven't seen you for a while. How are things with you? And I'm sure just like all of us, excited for a Stanley Cup final that really could be one of the better ones in recent memory if it plays out and lives up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, like I said, this is the two teams we've been talking about all year long, but in different facets. Of course, we've had Colorado kind of pegged as the favorite, wire to wire, it seems, and Tampa Bay, of course. You can never count them out being the repeat champions. Had some adversity during the regular season. They were able to fight through that. Didn't exactly run through the Atlantic Division, but they did what they needed to do in the playoffs. Andre Vasilevsky, keeps his reign as the best goaltender in the world. And here they are back for a third straight time in the Cup final. So it's been fun with that. Last night I had a great time watching the Calder Cup Western Conference final. Chicago Wolves advanced in that, so they're waiting to see who they're going to play starting on Sunday, Father's Day, in that series as well. So it's just been wall-to-wall hockey this time of year, and you love it. It's championship hockey. This is what we all kind of wait for from October on. And here we are finally getting ready for the Stanley Cup final, which should be an incredible series, in my opinion.
Yeah, no question about that. Looking forward to it. Now, before we get to game one, we do have a couple big news items in the NHL, coaching-related news items. Two hirings have taken place in the last 24 hours. Of course, the first one being yesterday afternoon, where we found out Bruce Cassidy has been hired as the new head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. Just a terrific, tremendous hire and fit for that organization. I think if you're going to bring in someone like Bruce Cassidy, you bring him in with a veteran group, a group that's got certainly a lot of expectations. I don't think Bruce Cassidy's interested in a long-term rebuild project. I think at this stage of his career, I think he wanted something like Vegas could offer him, and that's a chance to immediately contend for a Stanley Cup. And I think it's just a perfect fit. Because I think when you look at Vegas last year, there are other guys there are players that can be pushed at the defensive end, and Bruce Cassidy's very good at that. And I think you're going to end up seeing him really benefit that side of the puck. And look, I'm talking directly now to Jack Eichel. I said it on Twitter. I mean, Bruce Cassidy's there now. Here's your chance to become a dominant, consistent 200-foot player, night in and night out, not just show up here and there when you want to. You got to be there every night and be ready to go. And we'll see if he can kickstart too. I think Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty for the Vegas Golden Knights, who, they had injury-riddled seasons last year. But at the same time, we saw them kind of struggle to get their offense back in the end of the season. But Bruce Cassidy's just terrific. You're going to play with structure. You're going to play with system. a good sound system. You're going to play as a 200-foot player or a two-way player. That's an emphasis of his coaching going back to with the Boston Bruins. And I think the players in Boston liked him. David Pastrnak especially. David Pastrnak reportedly was not at all thrilled about the decision by Boston to fire Bruce Cassidy. And of course, he's contemplating his long-term future right now with that organization and possibly elsewhere now at this point. But no question, I think it's a great hire. I mean, it really is. And the Vegas Golden Knights, they needed something good, I think. They needed some positive energy, some positive vibes, something good to happen. Let's be honest, since the halfway point of last year when the injuries mounted and the struggles happened, it's been one bad thing after another. For this team. They've had some bad publicity with some of the decisions they've had. Marc-Andre Fleury, of course, last offseason, their first season out of the playoffs this past season. They just absolutely scuffled and stumbled and tripped up down the stretch. I mean, they had every opportunity to make the playoffs, and I still think they should have gotten in over either Nashville or Dallas. You know, if they play anywhere close to up to their potential, that should have been a playoff team with the roster they had. And look, they had everybody healthy down the stretch pretty much, and they just couldn't get it done. They didn't get it done. They had some bad losses to San Jose's of the world, the New Jerseys of the world, and it just was too much for them to overcome. Pete DeBoer ends up paying the price for that. People were shocked that DeBoer got fired. I sure as hell wasn't. I mean, how many times have we seen this organization fire coaches for less? Oh yeah, Gerard Gallant a couple of years ago. So it didn't surprise me DeBoer was fired. And I think when they saw the opportunity to hire somebody, first we thought it was Trotz because, you know, Trotz is still out there and available. And we thought maybe the firing of DeBoer, the timing of it interesting because they know Barry Trotz is available, but maybe the plans changed. And then as soon as Boston ended up letting Bruce Cassidy go, that became the number one target for the Vegas Golden Knights. It certainly looked that way because, man, did this thing get done quickly. I mean, what was Bruce Cassidy out of a job for? 6 days, a week at most? That's about it. And here he is now back in a head coaching job, and well-deserved. I thought he got a raw deal in Boston. Everybody known to man thinks he got a raw deal in Boston. Undeserving firing, in my opinion. So great job for Bruce. Congrats to him. And great job by the Vegas Golden Knights. A great hire all around. Alex, Bruce Cassidy to Vegas. It's hard to not like it at the moment.
Oh, no, yeah, it's a great fit. And like you said, you know, clearly he probably didn't want to be part of a rebuild, which kind of sucks for us Hawks fans who were kind of hoping he might be going there. But like I said, this is a positive fit, and I think this could be, you know, something long-term now in Vegas. And like I said, you know, maybe that can kind of change things around with, like I said, the fortunes they've had with, you know, some of the free agent moves and different things. So some stability now with this franchise, you know, and the expansion tag is long off of them. They're, you know, a perennial contender, and you know, kudos to the ownership. They do want to be a team that wins every year. They don't, you know, they have to go through their rebuild at some point, but it doesn't have to just be a complete teardown now with Cassidy. They can kind of just move some parts around and be like one of those another middle of the road teams, and maybe they'll be a better team for it coming up in this next season. So I think it's a great hire for them for sure. And like I said, now these other teams are still going to have to scramble and kind of back to square one because, like I said, Cassidy wasn't really a free agent that long. So, you know, other teams, like I said, still making their moves and trying to sign guys and get stuff ready before the draft and everything else.
Yeah, it really makes Neely and Sweeney there in Boston look even more foolish for doing what they did. I mean,
absolutely.
this guy didn't even last a week on the free agent market. You know, so it tells you how well coveted and well sought out he was to be a head coach, and maybe the mistake Boston made canning him the way they did. My fellow Ian Miller, what do you think here?
No, I think that couldn't be a better fit. And now Jack Eichel is going to have a summer where he's actually healthy, can be ready to go next season. And you got a team that's ready to win with a coach that's won before. So I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, there's no question. I think it is a good fit indeed. It's a great day for a hockey game. I mean, that's one of the best comments I've seen all day. It is definitely, Rich. We're all excited for it. And look at our friend Ray Bryce in the chat. Good to see you, Ray. But counting on you for tonight, Alex. Yeah, we need some draw. We need some draws and some next goals. And yeah, from a betcast standpoint, that's the sweet spot for Alex P. Smith right there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And this looks like a good game one for it as well. I'm so glad we have the betcast tonight for this first one.
Yeah, there's no question. And briefly, too, we'll talk about the other hiring, John Tortorella to the Philadelphia Flyers. That looks like it's just about finalized and confirmed as well. And Kevin Weeks, great job by him. He's the one that got the scoop for both of these before anybody else did. He beat out Drager. He beat out Elliot Friedman. He beat out all these so-called hockey insiders that it's always an arms race to get the story and the scoop first. Well, Kevin Weeks beat all your asses, so take that. So poor TSN, poor Sportsnet. None of their insiders got this shit before Kevin Weeks did. But look, Tortorella is going to be what he was in many other of his previous stops. What you can expect is an immediate turnaround, I think, immediate success, because that's what he's done everywhere. Like there's that immediate bump. There's that immediate spike where when he joins a team as the head coach, they improve. They get better right away. They have a good first year. We saw it in Columbus most recently when he was there. You know, they had a good first year, and the first couple of years were like a honeymoon with John Tortorella. It was great. He got them to be better. He got them to commit defensively, be a better team at that end of the ice. And boy, does he have a fuck ton of work to do with this Flyers team to make them better defensively. Maybe get a goaltender. That would be nice as well. Although Carter Hart's still got the potential, I'm still going to hold out hope he can continue to build up a pretty solid career for himself in the NHL. But certainly Martin Jones was not necessarily the answer as the backup. But, you know, nevertheless, they got question marks. They've got to shore up this blue line. They've got to make it a tougher team to play against. They've got to make it a better defensive team, more structure. Just way too many times you saw turnovers and rush chances allowed by the Flyers. John Tortorella will help fix that. He is a good fit here, too, because defense is his name, calling. And you look at this Flyers team, a shit show defensively, especially last year. So it's a good fit in that way, but it's going to be your typical, you know, John Tortorella here. He's going to have a nice first year, and I have no doubt there'll be a bet on team next year. I think there's going to be reasons to bet on this Flyers team because we've seen the track record of Torts. First year, immediate improvement. He's got the players' ear. He's got their attention. Wake the fuck up. Do certain things better, especially at the defensive end. But then, as we always see with Torts, once you get into year 3, you have a little success, and then maybe you have a little downturn. That's when the message starts to get stale. And when a guy like Torts is just so, you know, on top of the players all the time, like he's very, very demanding, and eventually the message just grows stale. He gets tuned out, and that's when you see, obviously, you know, things go in the other direction, and usually he gets fired not long after that. That has been the repeated history of John Tortorella as a head coach in this league. So to me, it's a good short-term hire. There's no question because you're going to see improvement. I think you're going to see better defensive efforts from this team on a nightly basis, but it's a short shelf life with Torts. It always has been in the other places he's been, the other stops he's been as a head coach. So, you know, it'd be a good first couple of years. I think they'll have success. They'll make the playoffs. They might even make a deep run in the next couple of years, but then things will go in the other direction. Things will start to fall apart. They'll start to struggle again, and then they get tuned out because of the same loud, boisterous, demanding, you know, kind of speeches you get from a guy like John Tortorella. And at some point, the players just tune that out, and that's usually when things go south, and Torts ends up now looking for his next job. So that's been the repeated pattern. You're probably going to see something similar. But I will say this, short term, good move for the Flyers because he will come in and fix what they desperately need fixing the most, and that's the defensive end of the ice for sure. Alex, Torts to Philly, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they needed a defensive coach. I thought Trotz would have probably been the better fit, but Tortorella will be a good fit. Like I said, short term, there'll be some value to bet on them early in the year. And, you know, you look at the trade market, one of the, you know, guys who's open to a trade right now is Anaheim's John Gibson. And he's, you know, obviously been one of the better goalies when he's had a good defense in front of him. That being said, he's a Pennsylvania guy. He grew up in Pittsburgh. Maybe, you know, swap Carter Hart for John Gibson. That could be something we could possibly see on the rise. I think Carter Hart could use a change of scenery, and so could Gibson, to be honest. So maybe that's something we see on the way. I haven't heard anything of that, but that just kind of crossed my mind once I heard of the Tortorella signing and also hearing that Gibson's open to being traded. But they're going to need to shore up things defensively. I don't think it's going to be that quick of a turnaround, though, for Philly like it was for Columbus and some of the other stops with Tortorella. I think he has a lot to do. And if they could just even be, you know, competitive enough to maybe compete and be in the wild card race late, I think that would be a positive sign. But I don't expect them to be right back in the playoffs, even with the decline of some teams that I do expect in the East. I think they're still going to struggle a little bit later on, but there will be some bet on spots for them, especially because of how bad they were last year. They're going to most likely be an underdog often in the first couple of months. So it's definitely something I have circled down the road.
Yeah, no question. Great call by Ray. Yeah, Cam Atkinson, he cannot dodge Torts. That's absolutely true. Of course, played for Tortorella in Columbus, and now Cam Atkinson here in Philly, and he's reunited, and it feels so good. Well, we'll find out with Torts and Cam Atkinson here in Philly. But yeah, when you look at the blue line, I think Ivan Provorov's going to benefit from Torts too, because this is a guy that also took a step back last year. There's no question about that. When 2 years ago he was looking like, man, this guy's going to be a cornerstone pillar defenseman for a long time for the Flyers. I think he'll benefit. They're high on this Ronnie Attard guy on the blue line. He's just young, but he's going to get more responsibility. I don't like Ristolainen, and I got to be honest, he takes too many bonehead penalties for my liking. I just don't like that part of his game. Sanheim's capable, but he can take it another level and step up. And how are you going to? Can Ryan Ellis come back and be healthy? I mean, this guy's been absolutely crippled by injuries the last couple of years. And keep in mind with the Flyers' defensive struggles last year, don't forget it was limited to less than 30 games for them last year before season-ending back surgery. Sean Couturier, who's just an absolutely phenomenal two-way player. I mean, he's good offensively. He's even better defensively. You talk about a guy that absolutely plays 200 feet of the ice. That's Sean Couturier. So, yeah, the Flyers fell off a map defensively last year. That was probably part of it as well. So there are pieces for John Tortorella to work with here and help. There are pieces and players that we think can be better defensive players. Provorov. We'll see what Ronnie Attard does for them. We think Sanheim's capable. We know they're going to get Couturier back. He's expected to be ready for training camp. So that's going to help. But at the same time, just the overall team structure they play with has to be better. It's not just the individual players, and I think the coaching of Tortson will help that. And if you don't block a shot for him, you're not going to play. I mean, he insists, he demands you block the fucking shots because if you don't do that, you're not going to end up getting as much ice time. Andrew McGinnis is now with us. Andrew, we were talking just to start the show before we get into game one, the coaching hires the last 24 hours, Cassidy in Vegas, Torts in Philly. What do you think of those two hires?
Yeah, guys, good to see you. I did a podcast with our man Jimmy yesterday, actually, about the firing of Cassidy, and then, of course, an hour after we're done the podcast, he gets hired somewhere else. Would have been nice to know that.
Couldn't they have announced it 2 hours earlier? Like, geez, that's brutal timing. Yeah,
would have been nice to talk about his new spot he landed in. But yeah, I mean, I shared the exact same thoughts. Really, Jimmy said, where, look, I mean, first of all, Cassidy is just a scapegoat, plain and simple. That's what he is. Teams like the Bruins, very similar franchises to like Toronto and Montreal, they don't like to rebuild. Their fan bases are so strong. They make so much money. They don't like to rebuild. But so what are they doing the past couple of years? Making the first round and then bust, right? So instead of hitting that reset button, building a little bit and trying to make the second and third round, they're fine with that extra bit of money from the first round. They're fine with giving their fan base a little taste of the playoffs, and that's it. Now you've got McAvoy, injury reserve, Marchand recovering, Grizzly recovering, Bergeron, who knows if he's going to play next year. Pasternak, not really too happy with the situation. To me, it's a real shit show and a blessing in disguise for Bruce Cassidy. The coach, I think, is a good coach, and I think will do very well in Vegas. Torts, I don't want to spend too much time on him. We'll see what happens. I'll tell you what, it could be a good fit for Philadelphia to buckle down defensively and not be as much of a nonstop over team as we all know they are. So look forward to 4 months from now, seeing what kind of total team they are. Can they turn into a better defensive team?
Yeah, exactly. It will have, like, short term, Torts will help. They'll be better in the short term. But as we always see with Torts, the message gets stale after a while. When you're that demanding and you're really hard on certain players and the team in general, people tune it out eventually, and that message gets lost. And that's usually when things start to go south. But Torts in the short term,
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah, exactly. So the short term, though, he's always going to get, I think, improvement from teams. He's done that everywhere. Immediately, there's been a bump. Immediately, there's been improvement, like Columbus and previous places he's coached. So I expect that here in Philly as well. Ian, what did you think of the Torts hire?
Again, I think that one's perfect as well. There's no better team for a John Tortorella system than the Flyers. They'll have a good identity to start the season. And then I might be way behind, but isn't Johnny Hockey still rumored to make his way to Philly? I know free agency is a couple weeks out, and that's
rumored. We'll see, though.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be a good fit for him as well. I think Laine did well under towards. So yeah, it'd be a good fit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Like I say, having Couturier back is going to help. Make no mistake about it. That will absolutely help this team. I think when the new season begins. All right, let's get to some Stanley Cup Final Game 1 analysis. I can't wait. I'm excited. The betcast, by the way, is tonight, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time for Game 1. Make sure you DM or email me, bobano350@gmail.com, or DM on Twitter if you want to join the betcast. I'll send you the link. It's going to be a great Game 1, hopefully. I mean, if it's anything like the last Game 1 that we did a betcast for involving the Colorado Avalanche when it was that 8-6 game against Edmonton in the Western Conference Final, where we absolutely cleaned up on the betcast that night, cleaned up with the live bets. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It was one live bet winner after another. That was when we had Ray Bryce and his buddy were on the betcast that night. They know it all too well. We were just crushing it with that Game 1 betcast, Colorado and Edmonton, that 8-6 game. It was a little bit more of a grind last week when we did Rangers Lightning Game 4. Finding winning value during the game live in terms of live betting. But that's what we're here for, and we'll see if we can find some more good live bets tonight. So looking forward to the betcast. Looking forward to this series, no doubt. Tampa Bay, Colorado. Game 1, Colorado minus 155. Home favorites here, 6 the total in this game. We're going to start with the personnel situations, both sides. What we know about Tampa Bay is Braden Point will be back tonight. He is returning, will be in the lineup for Game 1. Brandon Hagel is the player that's a little bit of an uncertainty for the Lightning. He's going to be a game-time decision. And I like the way Hagel played against the Rangers, actually. I thought he got better as that series went on. So if they don't have him, that will be someone they miss. The Tampa Bay Lightning, no doubt. But obviously getting Braden Point, just one of the biggest clutch performers in the Stanley Cup playoffs the last couple of years. Getting him back is just an enormous return for them. On the Colorado side of things, looks like Andrew Cogliano is going to miss the game tonight. Samuel Girard's season, of course, is over with the broken sternum that he suffered earlier in the playoffs. And Nazem Kadri, we did think initially with that thumb surgery that his season was over, but Jared Bednar's definitely kept the door wide open for him to potentially return. He's skating on his own. They say if the series goes long enough, like we go maybe 5, 6, 7 games type of length, there's a chance we see Kadri at some point, but it will not be tonight. Still a little ways away from returning, but we might see him at some point. So as a result, Bednar is going to basically do what I kind of expected. You're going to see in terms of the lineups here, Rantanen, Burakovsky, Lehkonen, Landeskog, Rantanen, Nichushkin, the top line. That's not going to change. Compher staying on the third line center spot, it looks like, and opting to go instead with Rantanen on that second line center spot. I think just for more offensive punch. Not that Compher can't. He's shown the ability to step up offensively, but obviously you get a little more offensive punch there with Rantanen playing that center spot. As far as Game 1 goes, I've gone over it a bunch of times, so I'll just be brief here and just say I think Tampa Bay can win Game 1 tonight. I think this layoff is a big deal. It's something that Tampa Bay negatively dealt with against the New York Rangers. We remember Game 1, East Final. It was a 9-day layoff after they swept Florida. And what happened in that first game? Out of sync, not sharp. They give up a wide open Chris Kreider goal in the first minute. Horrible defensive breakdown. They just looked totally out of sync. The long break really negatively impacted them. And we've talked to, oh my gosh, how many players have I had the last few days that I've taught? Brian Lee, and go on and on and on with the guests we've had. Go throughout the playoffs. They've all said the long layoff. Carl Alsner said it, I remember. The long layoff, 9 days is too much. All right, you like to have 4 days, 5 days, hell, even up to 7. It's a great amount of rest, but at the same time, you're not totally going to be, like you're hitting the ice for the first time in ages. But 9 days is totally different. 9 days is a lot of time to be just idle and not be on the ice for a game. And now you've got to ramp up to a Stanley Cup final level of speed, intensity, against a really, really good opponent, the 2-time defending champs. It could be difficult here for Colorado. So I do like Tampa first period, plus 120, and also the full game, plus 140. I already mentioned I like Tampa Game 1 and Colorado series combo, which is a nice, generous plus 410 is what you can get with that. I do think Colorado gets stronger as this series goes on, and their speed and their pace could wear out Tampa. And I said last couple days, Colorado thinks the game at a high level. They're a 5-man unit. The defense jump in every shift. Makar, Taves, Byram, Manson, the Johnson and Johnson. It doesn't matter which blue liner it is. They're jumping into the play on every shift, whether they're trailing, leading, or it's tied. It's a remarkable thing to watch. And the thing with Colorado is the puck movement is so quick. Like, they think fast, they move the puck fast, the players aren't stationary. That's what could open up some success against Tampa Bay. If you're too predictable against this Tampa Bay blue line, Vasilevsky's going to make the save, and the blue liner or the Tampa Bay is going to not allow the shot to get to the net. They're going to block the shot. You've got to open up lanes. You've got to open up seams. And Colorado is, I think, the best team in the NHL right now at doing that, which is why I think they could eventually open up success against Tampa Bay throughout this series with that kind of high-level offensive execution that they bring to the table. But I think here in game one, it's going to be difficult with the layoff, the 9 days off. I think the first 20 minutes, they're at their most vulnerable, Colorado, with the long layoff. So that's why I'm splitting this up. Lightning first period, Lightning full game. And I'm going to go with the over as well tonight here, over 6, because, again, if you hearken back to game one against the Rangers with Tampa, what did we see? We saw a high-scoring game. We saw defensive miscues, breakdowns, and it led to more goals and maybe more penalties too. If Colorado maybe with the 9 days off just a little step behind, you could say the rest is good for a team like Colorado, but this is a lot of rest. This is 9 days, and we saw this with Tampa. It was not good for Tampa. I'm worried it may not be good for Colorado either here in this series. So that's what I'm looking at here. Basically, it's an over first period full game split for me, because I did take over 1.5 as well first period, and also a Tampa first period full game split as well. We'll get to the props in just a bit. Alex, what do you think here, game one and the series? Because I don't think we've had your overall series thoughts yet as well. Lightning Avs.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tight series. It's to the point where I have not made a series bet currently. I did make a bet before the conference finals that Tampa to beat Colorado. I got plus 440 on that. And that was just kind of taking a shot because I thought Colorado Tampa Bay would win the conference. And I just thought that Tampa, with their momentum, I actually thought the series was kind of going to flip-flop. I thought Tampa would have an easier time with LA. Colorado might have had to battle a little bit longer, and Tampa would, be in that rest spot. But Colorado, like I said, with 9 days off. And, you wonder, okay, we saw this happen with Tampa Bay in their rest in the last round. But keep in mind, this is the second time Colorado swept the team so far in the playoffs. They didn't look too rusty in that second round series. They were able to kind of, maintain expectations there as well. So, like I said, if everybody's banged up, the teams could use the rest, but I think that it is a little bit too long. I'm not going to take a shot on the side right now because, like I said, we're going to be on the live betcast. One thing I did bet already is Tampa to score in the first 10 minutes at plus 170. I think, they understand the concept of taking the crowd out of the game. And for them to do that, they have to score early. We've seen that happen in all these series that they've won over the last 3 years. They won 14 straight series. So in that spot, that's something I think is worth a bet. But like I said, Colorado, after maybe shaking the cobwebs off, might take a period and a half, and then they could start getting rolling. So I like the over 6 as well, getting that even money. Darcy Kemper is projected to start. Yes. So now we got to wait and see. Is he back in the form as well? He looked sharp at times, obviously, early in the series, but, he's been liable to give up some goals. Vasilevsky, he continues to just roll hot right now, but I think he can be beat by this Colorado team. People have been pointing out his numbers the last 3 times he's played Colorado. You have to really throw that out in the regular season. Tampa Bay usually catches when they play Colorado. It's usually at an awkward time for either one of them because of their travel spots. So I don't take too much of anything regular season with these two teams into serious consideration. But I think we do see some goals here, and I think, like I said, Colorado will wake up during the game. But Tampa Bay might be ready and juiced up right off the bat by not having that much rest. So I like Lightning to score in the first 10 minutes plus 170, which more than likely will lead me to have the first period over 2 when we're on the live show. And I like the over 6 at minus $1.10.
All right, there we go. So that's Tampa first goal to score in the first 10 minutes plus 170. That's a good price on that too, as well.
And for Conn Smythe winners, because that's usually something I always play with. I already have Cale Makar plus 550 from almost a month ago. And I took a shot with Andre Palat. Somebody mentioned they saw 75 to 1 at DraftKings. I got 66 to 1. This guy has been just absolutely clutch. He's kind of filled the role that Brayton Point had been filling the last couple of years. I think if he gets some big goals in this series, he's definitely live. Vasilevsky's already won one. Hedman's already won one. So Stamkos would possibly be the rightful leader as far as Tampa Bay because he's had big goals as well. But I wouldn't count Palat out. I think there's some good value there, 66 to 1.
Yeah, no doubt. Kenny Woo 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 in our chat here says, I was at the Avs practice a couple days ago. Well, we've actually got eyes, and we got an eagle in the house there. We got someone checking out, scouting the practice for us. We got an intrepid reporter apparently with Kenny here saying, for whatever it's worth, those boys were flying around and looking rested and ready to go. No Kadri or Cogliano, but the Avs didn't look rusty. Not saying they win tonight, but I don't think there will be much rust. I respect what you say, Kenny, with that. But in practice, you're not facing an opponent that's trying to mash your head into the glass. And you got to make, tough decisions, with the puck at a moment's notice with someone right on you, trying to take it from you. Those are the things where I worry about Colorado, those decision-making things, where all of a sudden you've got to make split-second decisions and good puck management decisions in tight quarters in a split second. The reaction time, you know what I mean? When you're off for 9 days, your reaction time suffers a little bit. And I think that's something you want to be worried about. I do want to mention one thing to keep an eye on for in this series, because I like Colorado in the series. I mentioned that. I just don't like them tonight. But I like them to come back, win the series. The New York Rangers telegraphed everything against Tampa. As that series went on, it was a fake shot, and then they didn't do anything to move the puck or move the defender out of position. And basically it was, hey, puck, meet shin pads. The puck never ended up getting through to the net because the thinking the game was too slow, for the New York Rangers. Watch what the Rangers did with thinking the game, making the pass, when to make the shot, when to make the pass, when to move the puck, how quickly you move the puck in the offensive zone. Watch the difference from the Rangers against Tampa last round to what you're going to see in this series against Colorado. And I guarantee you it's going to be night and day. I mean, just the ability to think the game at such a high rate of speed, Colorado's going to have a greater ability to do that compared to New York, a much greater ability. Andrew, what do you think here? A game one tonight, Lightning and Avs.
Well, I look at this series, and I think that first of all, just the pathway to getting here. I think that too many people in the media are saying that Tampa Bay had a tougher road, so that will benefit them. My question to them is, what the hell do you want Colorado to do other than sweeping 2 of the 3 of their matchups and only losing 2 games in 3 rounds? And people aren't giving them any credit. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, all I've seen on Twitter, we can only read into Twitter so much, as you guys know, but people saying, wow, Colorado is so overpriced. They're so overpriced. They don't know what they're going to get when they see Tampa Bay. What else do you want them to do? Sweep all 3? Not lose a game the entire playoff so far? They literally have swept 2 opponents and then went to 6 with the other one. People are still talking bad about them. I don't understand that personally. And I think
I don't hate their path, Colorado. The best player in the world for one team, Edmonton, and a team with a chock full of Stanley Cup experience, St. Louis, who's a tough out in the second round. Okay, Nashville, you can bitch about that a little bit. A weak sauce series there because Nashville's inconsistent. They were down to their 3rd goalie. I get that. But, yeah, I don't want to crap all over Colorado's path to getting here too much.
I mean, the contrarian opinion is that, sure, adversity was faced for Tampa Bay, but they also lost 5-0 in game 1 against Toronto. They also lost 2 straight games at Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? So it's not like their pathway to get here is like any more impressive, I think, just because they faced adversity. So I just wanted to put that out there because I think, yeah, sure, you're getting a great price on Tampa Bay, but that's not because Colorado had an easy path. It's because Colorado's been the favorites since day 1 of the NHL season. Great points there talking about Colorado being ready off the get-go. I just really like the goals in this game, and especially in the first period. I think, Alex talked about these teams not seeing each other during the regular season, like the conference finals teams do, obviously being in the same conference. So when I look at this one, it's plain and simple. I think whether it's a matchup thing, whether it's not knowing the tendencies of the goalies or players, you're defending, I expect goals. And I think the exact same kind of rant that I went on, Ian, at the end, at the start of the Tampa Bay and Rangers series, hopefully comes true the exact same way here. Time off, whether it, helps their speed even more with Colorado or it, hurts them a little bit defensively out the gate. These teams don't know each other. There's plenty of talent out there. And Vasilevsky's great, but this is obviously the most talent I think he's faced so far in the playoffs. And they're going to get him moving laterally. Here's one thing I'll say about Colorado compared to a team like Toronto that's also high scoring. And you guys know I have my fun with Toronto, but I'm serious when I say this. Toronto doesn't score shitty goals. Colorado knows how to score garbage goals too. Ever hear of a guy named JT Comper? I mean, he scores some nice goals, but he'll, Arturi Lehkonen. Yeah, he's not going to always score the amazing goals. Guys like that are going to, put the ones in the net, put the goals in the net that aren't making the highlights every night. That to me is the difference with the Colorado Avalanche here. But I think Tampa Bay has the exact same thing. And both power plays are dynamite. So I like the goals in this game here, Ian. I like the first period over even better than the full game. I don't want to give the coaches time to make adjustments. Let's get 2 quick ones here in the opening night.
All right, first period over especially, which is around -140 or so for game one tonight with the Avs and the Lightning. I'm on the first period over and the full game over tonight. I said as soon as I saw game one play out the way it did with the Rangers Lightning, what was that, 2-1 after the first period, and then it ended 6-2. The first period flew over, full game flew over the total that night. And I said, the layoff, and look what kind of game we got. More of a pond hockey, more turnovers, more defensive miscues, more penalties. And I think you might see that tonight as well. And certainly it sounds like Andrew thinks that as well. Ian, what do you think here, game one?
Yeah, I think the long time off for Colorado, I'm on with you guys with the over 1.5 in the first period. I like the over 6 as well, but I am on Tampa. I think Vasilevsky's playing his best hockey right now. Tampa was rolling those last 4 games. So I think the rest for Colorado is definitely going to help them later on in the series. But everything you guys said was spot on. They're going to come out a little flat, I think, contrary to what Kenny Wu was saying about the practice. I think they will be a little bit flat. But, I like the over. There's going to be plenty of goals tonight.
Right, liking the over as well as Tampa here. All right, player props. I'm going to reiterate what I said yesterday about my series player props. Now, these are at DraftKings, by the way, and they were great with offering these series player props, the points player props in particular. I'm on 3 of them. I'm on both of the top 2 defensemen for Colorado in terms of their points for the series over. Makar over 5.5, which has actually jumped up. I got it at -150. It's up to -160 now at DraftKings. I still think just 6 points he can do that even against this Tampa Bay team, just because he factors in so much. Devon Taves over 3.5 for Colorado at -180. He's also been, like, you look at every series. The St. Louis series, he had 3 points there. He had a bunch in the Nashville series. He had against Edmonton in just 4 games, he had 5 points, in that series. So all you need is 4 out of Taves. And the one I absolutely love, and I can't believe the number that was placed on this one, Andre Palat at 3.5 points. Really? Are you absolutely shitting me with that number? I mean, I know the juice was -180 and I laid it. It's not like it's -110 or even money. It was -180. So you got to lay some juice on it. But he's absolutely, in my opinion, getting 4 points in this series. I mean, unless this is a sweep, and unless, specifically if Colorado sweeps and they're amazing defensively, which I don't expect, Tampa's too good for that, he's getting 4 points at least in this series, Andre Palat. And you look at how he's turned it up as well in the course of these playoffs. 2-1, 3-1 in terms of points in the last 4 games against the Rangers. What did he have total in that series? 2, 5, 6, 8 points in that series against the New York Rangers. The Florida series, the Florida series was a 4-game sweep. He only had 3 points, and 3's not going to get it done here. But it was a sweep. There were only 4 games in that series. What do you want the guy to do? Sure, he's going to have less points in that series. It only went 4 games. They swept Florida. So you can't make too much of a big deal of that. And then against Toronto in the first round, he had a great series in terms of racking up the points there too. He had 2, 3, 4, 5 points in that series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. 5 points will get it done here for Andre Palat with that series player prop. Series player points prop. I mean, that's a mouthful. Holy shit. Series player points prop. There we go. Yeah, it's now up to minus 200. So that it just keeps on climbing. I remember that line opened at minus 160, and I didn't even get that. I got minus 180, and it's gone even higher since I bet it. But to me, it's a great bet, even at minus 200. I mean, he's getting at least 4 points. I'd be absolutely shocked beyond belief.
Everybody. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Sounded like Lil Jon, Ian.
I know, yeah, exactly. Yeah, shots. I'm saying
yeah,
shock, but I know what you're getting at. Shots, yeah. That'll be tonight, by the way. Shots, yeah, on the betcast. I might even have a couple shots tonight, which I don't often. It's the Stanley Cup final. I'm whooping it up even more tonight.
I got a new rum tonight for the betcast. I'm ready to go. It's a rum night.
Nice.
Oh, very nice. A little rum man. There you go.
Cuba Libre.
Libre, exactly. So, yeah, I like those 3 player props. As far as individual game props tonight, obviously Palat point. Even though most of the points I've been really, really excited about the points props for Palat at home, he's even picked it up at his production on the road. I think he can get a point tonight. And again, in terms of the individual game tonight, he's probably going to be able to get a point. I mean, at DraftKings right now, Andre Palat point is minus 120. That's a good price. I mean, that's a really good price in my opinion. So I like that one quite a bit. As far as a couple other points props that I'm interested in here tonight, Palat's the value in my opinion, minus 120. I think Big Val for Colorado, minus 120 as well. Val Nichushkin on the top line at home can't pick up a point tonight. That's definitely a good value as well, in my opinion. We're looking at these players that we're just asking them to get 1 point, contribute to the scoreboard in some form. That's all it'll take. And I think Palat for Tampa and Big Val Nichushkin for Colorado are really good value point props. And even Taves, again, we talk about Taves. Makar obviously is expensive to get a point, as he should be. But Devon Taves, minus 135. And keep in mind how many points Tampa allowed to Ranger defensemen, in the last round as well. Adam Fox had a nice series, for the New York Rangers. So I think these guys, Taves, Makar, they're going to get theirs. They're going to get their points. And if Colorado's going to find the back of the net, they're going to have a big imprint on that in terms of point production from the blue line, both Taves and Cale Makar. So those are the props that I'm really focusing in on most tonight. Alex, is there anything of the player props variety that you like here tonight for game 1?
No, I was kind of leaning toward maybe taking a shot with Corey Perry to get a goal. Like I said, Tampa, like I said, Andrew, you made a good point. They got to, find a way to get those garbage goals. He's been kind of that guy who can get gritty, get in front of the net, and find ways to score in those dirty areas. So that's something I was kind of looking for. I was also thinking about Braden Point. It's kind of funny. The books have kind of adjusted to him despite him being out for most of the postseason. You got minus $1.30 for him to get a point, plus 200 for him to score a goal. So there's not much value on him, but I do think he will make an impact at some point. Maybe not in game 1, but at some point down the line, I will kind of have him circled to kind of get back out there and get on the score sheet. That's going to be imperative if Tampa Bay wins this series. So those are 2 things I'm kind of looking at right now. I don't really do a whole lot with player props necessarily. Probably will do more as the series goes on, but not so much for game 1. I'm just kind of focus more on the live spots just within the game tonight.
By the way, tonight, Kucherov over shots too is worth a look. I think you're going to see him get a lot in terms of, I'm not as big on the shots on goal props, but definitely I think that's something to consider here. I love seeing the Hamilton Bulldogs love in the chat. Look at this. I mean, I see it, multiple North Ender. You're going to the game. See, I'm not. That's the dedication I have to the Ice Guys and the Betcast. I'm not going to game 7 here in Hamilton tonight. And it is what it is. I'll be watching, though. I went to game 2. I went to game 5. Both of them were on a Sunday afternoon. So that's good. I did my part, to be there and cheer on the team. And I'll be watching. I'm going to have the Bulldogs game on one TV. TSN is showing that. And I'll have the Stanley Cup final on the other TV. So I'll be watching both. Go Bulldogs. Get this done. Get to the Memorial Cup here. Join Shawinigan, join Edmonton, and join St. John there. In the Memorial Cup next week. I hope they get it done, man. Windsor's been a fucking pain in our ass, though. They have been a tough out, and give them credit. Andrew, player props tonight. What do you like?
I'll make it clear. I haven't played anything yet, but here's kind of what I was leaning towards. Kemper over saves, Corey Perry sprinkle on a goal, and Comfer sprinkle on a goal. As far as the big name guys go, I honestly think, because I lean towards goals here, So I think this would be a game where we could see Cooch and McKinnon go over on their shots on goal. And then as the series progresses, we'll see them kind of be a little bit tighter and the shots on goal spread out. So I think if you like favorites, as far as the big name guys go, it could be a good night to take those. But I think I'm probably going to sprinkle on Corey Perry to score a goal here for sure. And I think JT Compher might be worth a look as well.
And by the way, averaging double-digit shots on goal in the home games here in the playoffs lately, Nathan McKinnon. That's unbelievable shit. Averaging double-digit shots like the last 6 or so home playoff games. So even though it's 4.5, even though it's juiced, you might even be wanting to take a look at that over there with Nate McKinnon's shots on goal, especially, he's going to be probably flying tonight, has been off for a while. So you could see that and make an early, try to make an early statement here. We'll have to see, but definitely 4.5 juiced for a reason. It still might be low based on the incredible shot output for Nathan McKinnon here at home in the playoffs. Ian, what are the props that you like?
Yep. So I do think sloppy defense early on, but I got Vasilevsky over 32.5 even money. Piggybacking off what you just said, I got Corey Perry anytime point at plus 160. I think this being his third finals in a row, he wants this one. I know he got one early in his career, but he's going to come out. I think he's going to be a difference maker, especially with Kadri out, his depth versus Colorado's depth. And then other one, Killorn, he's had a average pedestrian playoffs, you could say. Anytime point for plus 135. I think he's going to look to change that tonight. So that's what I have so far. Definitely listen to you guys. I'm going to be putting a few more in though right now.
I like the Killorn thought because, look, it's against the grain a little bit because he's been a little bit stagnant, quiet, if you will, offensively throughout these Stanley Cup playoffs. Like they've gotten here in spite of a lack of offensive contribution consistently here from Alex Killorn. And in fact, you look at it, he has gone 1-2. It's hard to believe because he is a good player, but he has gone 11 straight games here in the playoffs with no points. That is really, really shocking to me, and especially considering this isn't some guy that's getting just 10 or 12 minutes a night. He's playing a second line role, top 6 role here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it looks like he will be once again tonight. So it is stunning. He's gone that many games in a row without collecting a point. So it's that quote unquote do factor that Ian Miller is going with here with the prop there for Alex Killorn to get a point here in this game. I like the thought on Perry. I probably will end up on looking at Corey Perry in some form tonight, goal or point, because the dam's going to burst, and I think the floodgates could open for him at some point. How many chances did he have against the Rangers, in the Eastern Conference Final? He had a bunch, and he's going to be in Darcy Kemper's office and kitchen throughout the series. That's the style of game he plays. So he's going to probably have the opportunity to be able to find the back of the net here in this series. Great stuff. Ian Miller, our special guest, Alex P. Smith, Andrew McGinnis. We are ready for game one. We hope you are. We hope you're ready for the BetCast tonight, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. Join us for that. Send a DM to me on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com, and we'll make sure we send you the link for the BetCast tonight. Game one of the Stanley Cup Final. We're doing 4 of these BetCasts, by the way, throughout the Stanley Cup Final. Tonight for game one. We'll be here for Monday, next Monday night for game 3, 8:00 p.m. Eastern. Next Wednesday for game 4, 8:00 p.m. Eastern. My fellow Hamiltonian, by the way, who was on as a guest earlier in the playoffs, Matt Carey is confirmed, by the way, for the BetCast that night, game 4 next week. And then we'll have one for a game 7, if there is one, on Tuesday, June the 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I shied away from scheduling any weekend betcasts. The summertime, people are going out places and barbecues and cottage trips and all this shit. That's the time you may not want to be cooped up inside doing a betcast, right, on a summer weekend. So that's why when I schedule it, do Mondays, do Tuesdays, do Wednesdays, and try to keep it to that. So good stuff. We're looking forward to the BetCast tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern for game 1. So make sure you join us for that. All right, we'll get to best bets in just a second to wrap up the show. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers bet just $1 on any NHL team. Get $150 in free bets if they win. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state, you can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contest. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN, bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older, must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets for Game 1, Stanley Cup Final. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay Lightning to score a goal in the first 10 minutes plus 170. That's going to be huge for them. If they're going to win this game, you got to take the team out of it. You got to take the crowd out of it. And it's going to be rocking and rolling in Ball Arena. But if they can get on the board first, they can maybe temper the pace and tempo a little bit, get things swinging their way. I think it's still going to be a back-and-forth battle, but I like Tampa to get on the board early. So Lightning plus 170 to score within the first 10 minutes is my best bet.
Boy, that price stands out. That's a heck of a price for that. Tampa Bay Lightning plus 170 to score a goal in the first 10 minutes of the game. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Andrew, what do you like for best bet?
I don't know where I just went.
No, we got you. We see you. We see you. We hear you.
Oh, okay. My screen's just black.
Your screen's playing tricks on you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I'm taking Nathan MacKinnon to win the Conn Smythe. I think it's a great price. Shop around, you can get upwards of like plus 220. You guys heard what I like for the show, but my best bet prior to the series here, MacKinnon, Conn Smythe. Makar's the favorite right now. I just don't think he'll be able to skate around in circles and do what he's done in the playoffs so far against a team like Tampa Bay. So he'll have to be more of a defensive defenseman. He's still going to be great, but I feel like MacKinnon levels it up a little bit and takes the Conn Smythe if they are victorious in this series. I think it's a great price. If you like Colorado to win the Stanley Cup, I think MacKinnon is your guy for a Conn Smythe trophy.
All right, Nathan MacKinnon, Conn Smythe trophy winner at a nice plus price, a better plus price now after the torrid series that Cale Makar obviously had against Edmonton. So there you go. Best bet for Andrew there with that. Our special guest, Ian Miller. Great job, Ian, with us today. What do you like for best bet tonight?
Yep, I think Colorado's going to come out flat. I think there's going to be goals in the first, so I got Tampa in regulation at plus 190. I think that's a lock. So.
Oh boy! Oh my gosh! I'm throwing out the L word. Oh my gosh!
I'm getting on Tampa in regulation, so I'm going to say
wow, and that's a nice price too if you like Tampa in regulation. Tampa Bay in regulation plus 190. Ian Miller, our special guest for his best bet. I do want to mention too about the Conn Smythe trophy prop. Andrew mentioned liking MacKinnon. If you like Tampa Bay in this series, put something on Vasilevsky because it's like plus 400. More than that, even in some spots for him to win Conn Smythe. Yeah, that's even better than just taking them to win the series, in my opinion, at plus 155. I think, what would you rather have in your pocket, plus 155 or plus 400, plus 425, something like that? Because I think it's at least a 90% chance, probably more, that if Tampa Bay wins this Stanley Cup, Vassie's getting Conn Smythe. It's probably a good chance of that. So I think that makes a shit ton of sense to me, that if you like Tampa Bay in this series, you could bet the series price, but make sure you put something at least on Andre Vasilevsky, Conn Smythe at more than plus 400. All right, my best bet for tonight, I'm going to go Tampa Bay as well. I'm going to go full game, just full game money line, plus 140 is what I got. I think it's plus 135 down to that at most spots, but I like it. I think this is the game for Tampa. Colorado, the 9-day layoff concerns me. It's the same thing that really, really caused issues for Tampa Bay. Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Final against the Rangers, and I worry about that here for Colorado being off for 9 days. Tampa Bay here, plus 140, plus 135 in Game 1. My best bet for tonight for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. All right, great show. Thanks to everyone for joining us, and thanks to our special guest, Ian Miller. Thanks for joining us, Ian.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys. Excited for tonight.
Absolutely. I think I share that sentiment with everybody in the hockey world right now. And our betcast tonight, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us for that. DM or email me if you want to request a spot to join us on the betcast. Looking forward to it for sure. Joe Madden's back on the betcast tonight again, so it'll be nice to have her joining us for a little bit as well. Maybe we'll see if she has to run out and take her little daughter to cheerleader classes like last week. But she was loyal, though. She came right back and joined us for the end of the game. So great stuff there. So a great betcast coming up. We're looking forward to that tonight. And a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. We will have a recap show tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, because we're going to actually have Joe Madden as our guest tomorrow. It's previously scheduled. So she'll be on with us tomorrow for recapping game 1. We'll early look ahead to game 2. There'll be no show on Friday. All right. No Ice Guys show on Friday. Saturday, we're back. Obviously, it's a game day. So we'll be back with game 2 at noon Eastern on Saturday. Sunday will be no show. And then Monday, obviously, it's going to be mostly game days when we have our shows moving forward now, our daily show. So looking forward to that. Join us for the betcast tonight. For our special guest, Ian Miller, Alex P. Smith, Andrew McGinnis. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Game 1, Stanley Cup Final betcast for the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.